Machu Picchu. It's up there with Stonehenge, with the pyramids of Giza. It's an incredible feat of engineering, of design, of imagination.
Imagine a civilization so advanced, its secrets buried beneath centuries of dust, only to be uncovered by a breakthrough in technology. Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuamán, and other ancient sites in the Andes were never truly built by the Inca. Instead, they were the remnants of a forgotten people with knowledge that defied the very laws of physics. Lost to time, these ancient builders left behind a puzzle that no one could solve. Until now, what if everything we thought we knew about history was wrong? What if the real story is far more shocking than we could ever imagine?
The Inca are really well known for their incredible stonework, which is called Ashlar masonry. And the stones fit together perfectly without any mortar.
Machu Picchu is renowned for its Ashlar masonry, a technique in which the stones are cut so precisely that they fit together without the need for mortar. The result is a structure that not only withstands the test of time, but also resists seismic activity, as the region where it is located is one of the most seismically active on the planet. These megalithic ruins, built by the Inca, are famed for their engineering ingenuity and their alignment with celestial bodies. However, the story of their construction has long been shrouded in mystery. Despite extensive study, many questions about how these massive stones were transported and shaped, and the methods used to achieve such remarkable precision, have remained unanswered. What is often overlooked is the fact that the Inca themselves did not claim ownership of these extraordinary structures. According to Inca rulers, the structures were not of their making, but were instead built by a much older civilization known as the Veracuchan, or the people who came before them. This revelation raises significant questions. If the Inca did not build these structures, then who did? And how were these people able to achieve such advanced feats of engineering and craftsmanship, far beyond what is thought to have been possible with the tools of the time? Recently, this question has been given new life through the use of cutting-edge technology, including artificial intelligence, AI. A groundbreaking analysis using Google's powerful AI has begun to unlock some of the secrets hidden within the stones of Machu Picchu and other Inca sites, like Sacsayhuamán, a ceremonial complex in the area of Cusco. The AI was not simply programmed to focus on the stones themselves, but instead looked at their composition, placement, and the hidden geometric patterns that might reveal more about the methods used to construct these ancient structures. The AI's findings suggest that the Inca were not the creators of these monumental works, but were in fact inheritors of a much older and highly advanced engineering tradition. What the AI analysis uncovered is truly remarkable. It suggests that these ancient sites were engineered with a scientific understanding that was far ahead of its time, possibly even lost to history. Machu Picchu, with its giant stone blocks, some of which weigh over 120 tons, is a striking example of the Inca's architectural prowess. The stones that make up the site are not simply rectangular bricks, but are rather multi-sided polygons that interlock with a level of precision that is difficult to comprehend. These stones fit together without any mortar, and the gaps between them are so small that you cannot even slip a piece of paper between them. The precision of the stonework is so remarkable that it has baffled engineers and architects for centuries. Even more fascinating is the fact that these walls have withstood countless earthquakes, while nearby colonial Spanish buildings have crumbled to dust. The ancient Inca structures seem to have been designed with an almost uncanny ability to absorb seismic shocks, allowing them to dance with the earth and settle back into place after an earthquake rather than collapsing, as would be expected with conventional building materials. The question of how the Inca could have achieved such feats of engineering has only deepened over time. In places like Sacsayhuamán, which overlooks Cusco, there are massive stone walls made from limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 120 tons. To give a sense of scale, these blocks weigh approximately the same as 60 cars stacked on top of each other. Moving and shaping these stones, especially considering their weight and the lack of advanced tools, is an incredible challenge. The mystery deepens when we consider the materials involved. Many of the stones used in the construction of these sites, such as andesite and diorite, are incredibly hard, with a hardness of 7 or 8 on the Mohs scale, where a diamond rates at 10. The tools available to the Inca, mostly made of bronze and copper, were only capable of achieving a hardness of about 3 or 4. On the same scale, it would be akin to trying to carve through granite using a plastic spoon. So how did the builders of Machu Picchu manage to shape and place these stones with such precision? Some of the stones, such as the famous 12-angled stone found in Cusco, seem to fit together so perfectly with their neighbors that it is almost as if they were softened like clay, pressed into place, and then re-hardened. However, no known natural process could achieve such a result, and even modern techniques cannot replicate this level of craftsmanship. The question then becomes, how did these ancient builders manage to do this? With modern tools, replicating such stonework would be an absolute nightmare, likely costing millions of dollars. Yet, the Inca did it with seemingly primitive tools, raising serious doubts about the conventional understanding of ancient history. This enigma has led to the suggestion that the Inca were not the creators of these ancient sites, but rather found them already in existence. In fact, historical records indicate that when the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 1500s, they were amazed by the advanced construction techniques used in the megalithic structures. When they asked the Inca rulers about how these sites were built, the response was both simple and stunning. They did not build them. The Inca claimed that these structures were constructed by the Veracuchin, a mysterious civilization that existed long before them. The Inca, known for their own impressive building skills, simply built their cities on top of the foundations left by the Veracuchin. The differences between the older megalithic structures and the later Inca constructions are easy to spot. The older structures are made of massive, perfectly cut stones that interlock with incredible precision, while the later Inca structures are built with smaller, rougher stones that are held together with clay mortar. It's as if someone came along and decided to build a small log cabin on top of the solid foundation of a skyscraper. This discrepancy creates a significant gap in the historical record, as there are no written records, blueprints, or even a name for the civilization that created these advanced stone structures. It's as though this civilization has been erased from history entirely, leaving behind only the physical evidence of their remarkable achievements. Despite this, local legends and myths have kept alive the memory of these ancient builders. For generations, stories have been passed down about a time when the gods walked the earth and could move mountains with the power of sound, or with the help of a magical liquid derived from plants that could soften stone. While such stories may seem purely mythical to modern eyes, they may hold a kernel of truth. After all, how would a person from the 14th century describe a helicopter? They might call it a magical metal dragonfly, simply because they wouldn't have the language or understanding to describe such a machine. In fact, researchers have found strange marks on some of the stones at Sacsayhuamán, which appear as if a giant scoop, possibly powered by some form of advanced technology, was used to carve out chunks of rock weighing hundreds of pounds. These marks are smooth and uniform, unlike the rough, uneven marks left by the primitive tools that the Inca supposedly had. This discovery further suggests that the people who built these megalithic structures possessed a technology that far surpassed anything the Inca or other known ancient civilizations could have had. These findings point to one conclusion: the people who built Machu Picchu and other ancient sites in Peru had an advanced understanding of science, particularly in the fields of geology, engineering, and astronomy, that we are only now beginning to understand. They were capable of building structures that have withstood the test of time, surviving earthquakes, floods, and other natural disasters. Yet despite their impressive achievements, this civilization has been lost to history, its knowledge and technology forgotten. The stone structures of Machu Picchu and other Inca sites are often considered among the greatest achievements of ancient engineering. Yet it is not only their scale that leaves people awestruck, but the precision with which they were built. The stones used in these structures are not simple blocks or bricks. Instead, they are carefully shaped, multi-sided polygons that interlock with a precision so fine that they fit together without the use of mortar. This remarkable technique is known as Ashlar masonry, and it has puzzled historians, archaeologists, and engineers for centuries. The precision of these stone cuts is so extraordinary that the gaps between them are often so small that it is impossible to slip even the thinnest of materials, such as a piece of paper, between them. One of the most striking examples of this stonework is found at Sacsayhuamán, an ancient ceremonial complex in the region of Cusco, located at a high altitude in the Andes. Here, massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 120 tons, are arranged to form massive walls that have stood the test of time. These stones are not simply stacked on top of one another, but fit together with such fine precision that they create a solid structure without the need for mortar or any kind of adhesive. The stones are cut and shaped with such exactness that they appear to lock together like a three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. The skill involved in shaping these stones is unlike anything seen in other ancient civilizations, and it raises the question of how such a feat could have been achieved without the advanced technology we take for granted today. The sheer size and weight of the stones used in the construction of these ancient sites are staggering. The blocks of stone used to build the walls at Sacsayhuamán and other sites often weigh several tons each, with some blocks reaching as much as 120 tons. To put that into perspective, the weight of these stones is equivalent to around 60 cars stacked on top of one another. Moving such massive stones would be an immense challenge even with modern machinery, yet there is no evidence of cranes, pulleys, or any other advanced technology that could have been used to transport and position these stones. In fact, the tools that were available to the Inca people were relatively primitive by today's standards. The lack of evidence for the use of advanced construction techniques raises the question, how did the builders of these megalithic structures manage to transport and position such large, heavy stones with such precision? There are many theories about how these ancient builders might have moved the stones, but none of them can fully explain the complexities involved. Some suggest that the stones were carved directly at the quarry and then transported to the site, while others propose that the stones were moved across long distances using ropes, sledges, or even a system of wooden rollers. However, there is no definitive evidence to support any of these theories, and the true methods used to transport and position the stones remain a mystery. The mystery deepens when we consider the fact that many of the stones used in these ancient structures are made from extremely hard materials, such as andesite and diorite. These rocks are much harder than the tools available to the Inca. On the Mohs scale of hardness, where a diamond is rated as a 10, these rocks ranked around 7 or 8. The bronze and copper tools used by the Inca, however, had a hardness of only 3 or 4 on the same scale. To put this into perspective, it would be like trying to carve through a granite countertop with a plastic spoon. Physically impossible, yet the stones at sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuamán are cut with such precision that it seems to defy the known capabilities of the tools available at the time. Some of the stones, particularly those found at the famous site of Cusco, are so finely shaped that they appear to have been softened like clay and then pressed into place before being hardened again. This idea challenges our understanding of the natural properties of stone, as no known process can produce such a result. Natural forces such as heat and pressure can cause rocks to change over time, but they do not explain the incredibly precise shaping of these stones. Even modern engineering techniques struggle to replicate the quality of craftsmanship found at these ancient sites, which raises an important question. If the Inca did not have the technology to shape these stones, then who did? In fact, the Inca themselves may not have been the original builders of these ancient structures. According to local legends, the Inca discovered the ruins of these monumental structures when they arrived in the region, and they claimed that the structures were built by an earlier civilization, the Veracuchan, or the people who came before. This revelation has led to a reevaluation of the history of these sites. The Inca were undoubtedly skilled builders and they left behind their own impressive structures, but it is now believed that they simply built their cities on top of the foundations left by the Veracuchan. The difference between the older megalithic structures and the later Inca constructions is easily noticeable. The older structures, built by the Veracuchan, are made from massive, finely fitted stones, while the later Inca structures are built from smaller, rougher stones held together with mortar. The Inca construction is of a noticeably lower quality compared to the megalithic structures they inherited. It is as though a new civilization came along and decided to build a simple house on top of the grand foundation of a skyscraper. This discrepancy raises an important question. If the Inca did not build these structures, then who did? Despite the absence of written records or direct evidence, the local legends and myths passed down through generations suggest that the original builders of these structures may have been a civilization with knowledge and technology far beyond what is known to have existed in ancient times. These legends speak of a time when gods or divine beings walked the earth, moving mountains with the power of sound or using a magical substance derived from plants that could soften stone until it became as malleable as clay. To a modern person, these stories may sound like pure mythology, but could they contain a kernel of truth? It is possible that these myths are the only way the ancient people could describe a technology that was far beyond their understanding. Interestingly, researchers have found strange marks on some of the stones at sites like Sacsayhuamán that appear to have been made by some kind of advanced technology. These marks are smooth and uniform, unlike the rough, uneven marks left by the tools that the Inca were believed to have used. Some have suggested that these marks may have been made by a giant scoop or some other mechanical device, possibly one that used high-frequency vibrations to carve the stone with incredible precision. This would align with the legends of sound-based technology that could shape stone. The discovery of these strange marks adds another layer to the mystery, suggesting that the builders of these megalithic structures possessed a technology that is currently beyond our understanding. While many of these questions remain unanswered, the evidence points to a civilization with a deep understanding of science and engineering far ahead of its time. The precision and sophistication of the stonework found at sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuamán suggest that the builders of these structures were masters of geology, engineering, and astronomy. Their knowledge was so advanced that they were able to build structures that have survived the ravages of time and nature, including earthquakes, floods, and the passage of centuries. Yet, despite their extraordinary achievements, this civilization has vanished from history, leaving only their stone monuments as evidence of their existence. The question of who they were and how they were able to achieve such remarkable feats remains one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. The story of the Inca civilization is often told with an air of mystery, primarily because much of their history remains wrapped in the unknown. While they were a remarkable society, responsible for the construction of some of the most stunning architectural achievements in the ancient world, many of their most awe-inspiring structures were not their own creations. This revelation has caused scholars to rethink the history of these ancient ruins, challenging long-held beliefs about the Inca and the true origins of their monumental buildings. One of the most compelling aspects of this story comes from the Inca's own admission when questioned by the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century. The Spanish were astounded by the stonework they encountered in the Andes, and naturally they asked the Inca rulers how such impressive structures had been built. The answer they received was surprising. The Inca had not built them. Instead, they explained that the ruins, including the massive walls and complex stonework, were the work of a people known as the Viracocha, a civilization that had existed long before the Inca themselves. According to the Inca, they had inherited these impressive structures and had built their cities on top of them, using the already established foundation. This admission raises a fascinating question. If the Inca did not build these monumental structures, then who did? The absence of written records, blueprints, or any direct evidence of the Viracocha civilization only deepens the mystery. There is no name for these ancient people, and no known history to explain how they achieved such feats of engineering. As a result, these ancient ruins have been left as a blank spot in the historical narrative, and the true identity of Viracocha remains unknown. This lack of concrete information about the builders of these sites has led to much speculation and intrigue. The absence of written records is not unusual in ancient civilizations, especially in those that relied more on oral traditions rather than written documentation. Yet, the fact that the Inca rulers themselves claimed they did not build the structures presents an intriguing anomaly in the historical record. It suggests that the Viracocha were not merely a minor group or a forgotten tribe, but a sophisticated civilization whose achievements were so advanced that they still baffle researchers to this day. What's particularly interesting is that the Inca rulers were aware of the immense scale and complexity of the structures they found when they arrived in the region. The sheer size and precision of the stonework left them in awe. As they settled and began their own construction projects, they used the existing foundations of Viracocha structures, but they did not replicate the same advanced technique. The Inca buildings are noticeably different in terms of construction methods, materials, and overall design. They used smaller, rougher stones and employed mortar to hold them in place, in stark contrast to the flawless dry stone masonry of the earlier structures. The difference in quality between the older megalithic work and the later Inca construction is clear, making it easy to distinguish between the two. Some experts have speculated that the Inca may have been the successors to this earlier civilization, inheriting their knowledge and traditions, but it's difficult to confirm this theory due to the lack of direct evidence. It is possible that the Inca were aware of the advanced nature of the previous civilization's technology, but whether they fully understood how to replicate it is still a matter of debate. What we do know is that the Inca themselves were capable engineers and architects, with a talent for building structures that could withstand the elements. But they did not possess the same advanced knowledge of stonework, shaping techniques, and engineering principles that the Verakuchen had clearly mastered. Local legends and myths, passed down through generations, offer further insight into the possible origins of the Verakuchen. These stories speak of a time when gods or divine beings walked the earth, able to move mountains with their minds or with the power of sound. Some legends even describe a magical liquid derived from plants that could soften stone and make it malleable, much like clay. To the modern mind, such stories may seem like pure mythology. However, could they be describing a real lost technology that was so advanced that the people of later generations had no other way of explaining it? It's important to consider the role of myth and legend in understanding ancient civilizations. In many cultures, myths and legends serve as a way to explain the unexplainable, often describing events or technologies that were beyond the comprehension of the people at the time. If these stories are indeed based on truth, they may be describing technologies that were so advanced that they seemed like magic to the people of later civilizations. Could the legends of the gods who could move mountains and soften stone be a reference to a lost technology that allowed the builders of these ancient sites to shape and transport massive stones with ease? While this idea might seem far-fetched to some, it is worth considering that myths may sometimes be the only way for ancient peoples to describe a technology that they did not fully understand. Researchers have found evidence that supports the idea of a lost technology. At sites like Sacsayhuamán, there are strange scoop-like marks on the stones, which seem to have been made by a tool that could have been capable of manipulating stone with incredible precision. These marks are smooth and uniform, not the rough, uneven marks one would expect from the primitive tools the Inca were supposed to have used. Some have suggested that these marks were made by a machine-like device that used high-frequency vibrations or other advanced techniques to carve through the stone. While no such technology has been discovered, the evidence points to the possibility that the builders of these ancient structures had access to a technology that we are only now beginning to understand. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the legends, myths, and mysterious features of the ancient ruins provide a compelling case for the existence of a lost civilization with advanced knowledge of engineering, stonework, and astronomy. The fact that these structures have survived for centuries, withstanding earthquakes and other natural disasters, suggests that they were built with a level of sophistication that far surpasses what is typically associated with the Inca or any other known ancient civilization. The Verakuchen, though forgotten by history, may have been the true architects of these remarkable structures. What makes the story of the Verakuchen so intriguing is not just the mystery of their identity, but the implications it holds for our understanding of ancient civilizations. The idea that an advanced civilization could rise, thrive, and then vanish without leaving behind any clear trace of its existence challenges our understanding of history. It raises the question, how many other ancient civilizations, with knowledge and technologies far beyond what we understand today, have disappeared from the historical record, leaving only fragments of their achievements behind? The ruins of Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuamán, and other ancient sites may be the remnants of such a civilization, and the mystery of who built them may never be fully answered. In the absence of written records or direct evidence, the story of Verakuchen and their extraordinary achievements remains one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. While we may never know the full extent of their knowledge or the methods they used to construct these incredible stone structures, the legends, myths, and the sheer scale of their achievements continue to capture the imagination and spark further research into the lost history of the Andes. Perhaps as technology advances and new discoveries are made, the secrets of the Verakuchen will be revealed, shedding light on a civilization that has long been forgotten, but whose impact on history may be far greater than we can currently imagine. For centuries, the mystery surrounding the construction of Machu Picchu and other ancient megalithic structures in Peru has captivated historians, archaeologists, and researchers. While much has been discovered about the Inca and their remarkable achievements, The true origins of these monumental sites have remained elusive. The fact that the Inca themselves did not claim responsibility for building these sites, but instead attributed them to an earlier civilization, the Viracocha, has left a significant gap in our understanding of ancient history. Despite the absence of written records and other direct evidence, the search for answers continues to unravel new clues, and recent advancements in technology have provided breakthroughs that shed light on the mystery. One of the most significant technological advancements to help uncover these secrets is the development of artificial intelligence, AI, specifically the deep learning algorithms created by companies like Google. For years, researchers were limited in their ability to process the vast amount of data related to the ancient sites in Peru. While technologies like satellite imaging and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, had begun to reveal hidden features of these ancient sites, the sheer volume of data made it nearly impossible for human teams to analyze and interpret it fully. This is where AI stepped in, bringing a new era of digital archaeology. By feeding all the available data into an advanced AI model, researchers were able to begin uncovering patterns and insights that had previously been overlooked. LiDAR scans, geological surveys, astronomical alignment data, and high-resolution photos from various megalithic sites across the Andes were all processed through the AI, which sought to identify recurring architectural signatures and hidden patterns. The AI did not simply search for predetermined answers, but instead looked for subtle connections that the human eye could not perceive. In doing so, it uncovered a groundbreaking discovery. One of the most remarkable findings of the AI analysis was the realization that many of the megalithic sites spread across vast and rugged terrains shared a strikingly similar architectural design. Despite being hundreds of miles apart and separated by difficult mountain ranges, these sites all exhibited the same unique features: complex angles, interlocking polygons, and specific astronomical alignments. The consistency across these distant sites suggested that they were not built by different civilizations over time, as had previously been thought, but by a single unified culture, with a highly advanced and standardized approach to construction. The AI also found evidence of a remarkable level of precision in the stonework, confirming the existence of intricate tool marks that had been previously unexplained. These marks, when examined through the lens of modern technology, appeared to be consistent with the use of high-frequency vibrational tools. This finding resonated with the legends and myths that spoke of an ancient technology capable of shaping stone through the power of sound or vibration, further supporting the idea that the builders of these ancient sites possessed knowledge that was far ahead of its time. Additionally, the AI uncovered evidence of mineral vitrification on the surfaces of some of the stones, a phenomenon that can only occur when rocks are exposed to sudden intense bursts of heat. This process causes the surface of the stone to form a thin glass-like layer, which is impossible to achieve through simple fire or heat sources that were available to ancient civilizations. The presence of this vitrification on the stone suggested that the builders had access to an advanced form of heat technology that we are only now beginning to understand. With these new insights, the AI provided a clear answer to the long-standing question of who built these structures. According to the AI's findings, the megalithic sites across the Andes were constructed by a single civilization that had access to highly advanced engineering and technological knowledge. This civilization, which had mastered stone shaping, geological processes, and astronomical alignment, had left behind a legacy that defied conventional understanding. However, the most compelling part of the story is not just the revelation of this advanced civilization, but the mystery of what happened to it. The question of where this remarkable civilization went is one that has puzzled researchers for years. The idea that a civilization could achieve such technological feats and then vanish without leaving a trace of its existence is both fascinating and unsettling. The disappearance of this advanced society has led many to speculate about the cause of their sudden decline. One of the most widely discussed theories points to a global cataclysm that occurred around 12,000 years ago, known as the Younger Dryas. During this period, the Earth underwent dramatic climate shifts, possibly triggered by a comet or asteroid impact. Evidence suggests that such an event may have triggered massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and catastrophic floods, which would have wiped out entire civilizations and left the survivors scattered across the globe. This theory, known as the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, is supported by geological evidence of widespread destruction during this period. Researchers have found signs of megafloods and large-scale environmental changes that suggest a global catastrophe. In South America, there is strong evidence of a massive flood, which could have swept away entire populations and erased any trace of the advanced civilization that once thrived in the region. The remnants of their stone structures would have been one of the few things left behind after such a disaster, as stone is one of the most durable materials on Earth. If such a cataclysm did occur, it could explain why the knowledge of this ancient civilization was lost to history. The survivors, if any, would have been scattered and isolated, their advanced knowledge and technology forgotten as they struggled to rebuild their societies in the aftermath of the disaster. As new civilizations rose from the ashes, they would have encountered the remnants of this lost culture, and lacking any historical context or understanding of the advanced stonework, would have attributed these monumental ruins to gods or mythical beings. This scenario aligns with the stories passed down through generations, where local legends describe the ancient builders of the sites as gods or giants with the power to move mountains. The loss of this civilization's knowledge and the subsequent rise of the Inca is a sobering reminder of how fragile human history can be. The Inca, who came much later, found these ancient ruins, and in the absence of written records or any knowledge of the people who had built them, assumed that the gods were responsible for their creation. As a result, they built their own cities and structures on top of the foundations left by the earlier civilization, without fully understanding the true origins of the megalithic sites they encountered. The story of this lost civilization, as uncovered by AI and supported by geological evidence, serves as a cautionary tale for the modern world. It highlights the fragility of human knowledge and the potential for entire civilizations to be forgotten and erased by a single catastrophic event. In the age of advanced technology and global interconnectedness, it is easy to believe that our own civilization is invincible. However, the mystery of the ancient builders of the Andes reminds us that even the most advanced societies can vanish without a trace, leaving only the physical remnants of their achievements behind. As AI continues to unlock the secrets of the past, it offers a glimpse into a world that once existed but has long since disappeared. The ancient stone walls and megalithic structures of the Andes may hold more than just the keys to understanding the past. They may also offer a glimpse into the future. Just as the knowledge of the ancient builders was lost to time, it is possible that the knowledge of our own civilization could one day be forgotten, buried beneath the weight of history. This realization adds a layer of urgency to the preservation of our own technological advancements and cultural heritage, ensuring that the lessons of the past are not lost to future generations.